हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण।
All right, right. So let's get the presentation. Sure. Hare Krishna. I hope everyone can see the slides. All right, we are live. So I welcome everyone in today's session. सभी भक्तों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे श्री ईशोपनिषद सेशंस में, जो हम एक साल से ऊपर हो चुका है हमको श्री ईशोपनिषद। हम मंत्रा 17 पर हैं और 18 मंत्रास हैं, तो बहुत सून हम फिनिश कर रहे हैं। हम एक्चुअली लास्ट थीम पे हैं एंड इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। Let's take Srila Prabhupadaji's blessings to the Mangacharya, then we shall resume where we left last time. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-Jana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Paramami Hari Priye वाञ्छकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। शिला गुरुदेव महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। हरे कृष्ण। Thank you so much. Both the kids are here with me. I hope everyone could hear that. Now, very quickly, what we have been doing in Mantra 18 from the invocation mantra, which is also considered in some Vedantic school of thoughts as Shanti mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Vachate Purnamidva Vishishyate. This this mantra is this mantra says that we are Purna and Krishna is Purna. We have emanated from Krishna, hence we are Purna as well in quality. Sat Chit Anand. Ishavasan principle is mantra 1. We'll live in that. We will live in harmony. And then if we don't live in Ishavasan principle, if we try to become the proprietor and become the owner, then we will live in disharmony. और अगर हम सोच के देखें हमारी लाइफ में यही होता है। जब हम लोगों की, चीजों की, कोई भी चीज हमें मिलती है, हम उसके ऊपर अपना हक जताने लगते हैं कि, या हमारी सेल्फ ईगो बीच में आती है कि हमारी रिस्पेक्ट नहीं हुई, हमारा नाम नहीं हुआ, हमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा, हमें ऐसा कहना चाहिए था पर ऐसा कह दिया। लेकिन अगर कोई दास होता है, सेवक होता है, तो उसकी अपनी कोई डिजायर नहीं होती है, क्योंकि जो भी हमें मिला है वो प्रभु की कृपा से मिला है, और जो भी मिला है वो प्रभु की सेवा के लिए ही मिला है। ईशा वास्तव 4 to 8 ज्ञान के चक्षु, स्पिरिचुअल विजन। So that's the only way to understand Krishna, through spiritual vision, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Hence, we should always be connected, and we will hopefully hear and see one of the examples today. 9 to 11, right and wrong Vidya, understanding, knowledge. 12, 13, and 14, the kind of worship we should be doing. And if you see 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, they are in grades. So 10 is better than 9, 11 is better than 10. Similarly, 14 is better than 13, which is better than 12. So in grades. Hence, it says that Sanatan Dharma, Vedic culture can accommodate everyone. Wherever we are, there is something for us. No one will say that, oh, wow, you could not be accepted here because you don't do this, or you can't come because you are not ready. No, wherever you are, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Arjuna, if you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, at least do this. And even if you can't do that, at least on a mental. So there are many examples for Mansik Puja, that even if we can't get anything, we always have our thoughts. And Krishna says, even in your thoughts, you will patram pushpam phalam toyam. Even if you will offer just a leaf, never mind the flower, the fruits, or even if you can't find the water, or maybe if we are in the desert, we can't even find the leaf. But mentally, if we just thought that, Lord, this is what we are offered, then Krishna accepts it. As long as bhava is there, that it's with pure devotion. Otherwise, if we are just doing a big propaganda, and even if we will put the whole, like we usually used to happen, I don't know if it happens now, not many people, or maybe big industrialists, they offer big donations, and they might give gold ornaments, and not because they would like to, they have responsibility towards the Lord and the temple and the monastery, but because they just want to show off. Then Krishna says, there's not much point in that. I won't accept that. And do we have an example? Of course, we have an example in Mahabharata, if you see, and it's there, references in Bhagavatam as well, where when Krishna goes to Indraprastha, no, it wasn't Indraprastha, Hastinapur at that time. He goes to Hastinapur, and he had two invitations. One was from Duryodhana, and of course, Duryodhana was a prince. He had everything planned for. Why? Because his mama said it. His uncle said it, that Krishna is coming and you need to invite him once, because he's a senior. You invite him, you make him happy, and he will give you Ashirvad. Right? He will. So if you offer something, and we have seen this happens in Vedic culture. It says even if an enemy will come at the time and offer obeisances, you offer the prayers. If you're elder, you will. We have seen many examples there. Indra came to Karan, and Karan knew it, but still Karan gave it, right? And if we see at the time of when the same plot, Mama Shakuni said to Duryodhan, when Durvasa Muni is coming, that offer everything and he will give you blessings. And that also happened. This time he tried a similar thing with Krishna. But Krishna didn't accept that. But there was another offer, and that offer was not even a genuine offer, because nobody asked for it. But the person thought about it, that Krishna is coming and it would be great blessing if Krishna could come to our home. And no one said that in words to Krishna. And Duryodhana had everything planned, but Krishna didn't accept Duryodhana's. Krishna accepted Vidura's wife invitation. And she had only thought about it. She said to her husband later that I thought about it. And it's because Vidura asked that, how come Krishna you are here? And then Krishna said, well, you invited me. I said, well, it's a blessing to have you, but did we send the, because he was there in the politics, and he said, did we send the official invite to you? I don't think so, but thank you so much, come along. And then his wife revealed that in my heart, I invited Krishna. I knew Krishna is coming, and I thought it would be great, but I couldn't say it to you because I knew your position in the palace that compared to Duryodhana. If Duryodhana is invited, how come you gonna invite? So I never did it. So Bhava, Krishna accepted that. And this is what Krishna is saying, that what kind of upasana is there, right and wrong. So Bhava is the consciousness should be pure enough when we do. And how does consciousness becomes pure? There are many reasons, many ways of doing it. One of them is doing the chanting of Mahamantra. Another one, which is even wider accepted, is doing Karma Yoga. But Karma Yoga is in chapter 3 mentioned as Nishkam Karma Yoga. So when we do the yoga, when we do the karma as a yoga, which means that we don't accept anything in return, we do it as our responsibility. And there are many shades of that as well. But moving on to 15 to 18, 15 and 16, the kind of prayers, and then or kind of worships to get the prayers. And then 17 and 18, that's where we are. And if we will go further. So just to remind, what we're discussing here is, this is the devotee asking, requesting Krishna that let this temporary body be burned into ashes and let the air of life be merged with the totality of the air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate benefit, please remember all that I have done for you. And His Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji's presentations we are using, where we have seen this example that this is not just one verse in Shri Isopanisad Mantra 17. The references are there in many other places, and Srimad Bhagavatam is another one. And I have yet to change it. But transcendenting body death. This is what we were discussing. This topic is sometimes threatening to people, because people say, why do you want to talk about that? We know we are going to die, but why do you want to talk about it? But there was a writer called Ram Das. I think his name was Richard before. And a very famous Ram Das. He did many books on his experience in India. He lived in India for many years. When he went back to America, and he did his spirituality great service there in America as well. But one of the things he said in his early days, he said in America, he was an American. He said in America, when people die, it's a very close function. Only limited people will be invited, and everything will go. The dead body will go under the coffin. Coffin will go in the black cap. Nobody will be able to see it. Well, of course, it will be inside, and people can come and take last darshan, if I say, and then go in the coffin, and straight we will go and burn it. But in India, he said, it's a public possession. And not only that, people are not sad. People chant. And what do they chant? They chant, Rama Nama Satya Hai. What does that mean? The Lord of the truth is. Now, when he heard it and he understood it, and of course, when he progressed further, he said, this is such a remarkable event, which is, it's a public possession. Everyone in the public and everyone chant that when the person is dying, people remember. What do people remember? Exactly what it says there in Mantra 17, that, oh Lord, this body is going away, but your name your name, you, that's eternal. The soul is eternal. You are the one who could take care of all that. But your name is the only truth, nothing else. And in many shades, if you see Advaita, say Brahman, Aham Brahman Asmi, I am Brahman, like I'm the soul, I'm the Atma. And Brahman is, everything is Brahman, which is Lord Rama. Ram's name is everything. So in different ways, they're saying that there is only one truth, and that truth is the Lord. So giving up the material body, accepting the spiritual body, and that transition, and then relationship between two, if I say, between material and spiritual, or between spirit, soul, and the Lord, which is also spiritual. Srimad Bhagavatam 8.5.25 in the purport, Prabhupada ji said that there are many bhajans, but if you just do one bhajan, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that's good enough, that Krishna will accept us. So here in this mantra, mantra 17, what we're saying that we are requesting Krishna, you accept us. And what we're saying, do the Mahamantra and Krishna will accept it. We have seen this, we were looking into it. Giving a material body, how is material body created? According to propensities for the sense gratification. Of course, if we would like to, we've seen the example of Jal Bharat, Maharaj Bharat, who at the time of death, he had left all his palace and everything. At the time of death, he got attached to a deer. Next birth, he was born as a deer. So sense gratification, if we got attached and at the last moment what we think, that will be the seed of the next birth. So what we want to do, either we don't want to think of anything, which means there won't be any birth. Because we want to break this vicious circle. If you see here, this is the vicious circle, what we say. This is the vicious circle. Right? Going round and round and round and round in different species, going round and round. How can we break? At the time of death, either we won't think of anything. Dr. Prabhupada says, this is what yogis will try. But control your mind, seize your thoughts, cease fire, stop it. Nothing. Prabhupada said that's very hard. If you can try doing it. Sit back, try to think nothing. And there are ways of doing it, and this is part of the meditation as well. Or rather than try to think nothing, try to think something specific. Like one of the great example I love, that if there is a child playing around, because child, they don't want to sit at one place. If you ask them to drop everything and sit at one place, it will be very hard for them. They will be very agitated. But if you will say, all right, how about if you do this? And that could be anything, mix the rice and lentils together and say, can you take them away? Easy. Keep them busy. But if you just ask them to stop, don't do anything, it will be hard. So it's better to engage, and that's the mantra Srila Prabhupada did. And that's where mantra comes into practice, that when you sit, you take the name of the Lord, then you're not thinking of the past, you're not thinking of the future, you're just focusing on the mantra, taking the name of the Lord. What else could be best? At the time of the death, there is no desire, you're taking the name of the Lord, you will get spiritual breakthrough. That's what we are looking for. But of course, that will happen at the time of death. The best spirituality is that the benefits you will see now. You will see you don't have to die to get the benefit. When you will die is the next birth which you can control. And of course, your current karmas will control the next birth as well, will affect, will impact. So what kind of and what will happen in that birth will be based on the karmas here. But imagine if there won't be any karma left. And we have done the cycle of karma as well. Hog and stool, we have seen the example of Indra, who got it was a Brahmhatya, he was cursed and he became a pig, and he got so much engaged in his family, big family. There was another example where a little cub, a child of a tiger, got into herd of is it herd of lambs, and he thought that I'm a lamb until another tiger came and showed his own face, self-realization, showed his own face in the river. You don't look like sheep. You look like me. I'm a tiger, so you are a tiger. That's one of the other examples. Now, we have seen, if you go, what happens after death, living entity not annihilated. Well, the body will go, the spirit soul will not go, does not become formless. A lot of time people say there's no form. But of course, from one birth to another birth, as we have seen, whichever birth we will take, there will always be a form. Temporary, sometimes it happens like there are mentions of being ghost. So ghosts are concepts which is in the transition. Before you get a new birth, you are in between for some reason. And then maybe you don't have a physical form. Maybe you don't have a physical body yet. But still you get the ghostly body, right? Which of course material senses we can't see. But you don't cease to exist. So you still exist but in different forms. How does living entity changes different body? We have seen, I think everybody might have heard of, I think it said 86 or 84 million yonis. So basically that means a lot of human yonis, a lot of vegetable, a lot of living beings. And then why so much change? Because of the desires. Simple as that. Seize the desires and everything will come in control. Even if our life now we think about, right? If we don't have desires, then we are calm, we are composed. We don't, there's no jealousy, no fight, no conflict at all. It's just the desire. Desire for the land, desire for the wealth, desire for the power, desire for the beauty, desire for a contest, desire for an award. It's just the desire. And then how does yogi change? Control air, like I said, because if we get angry, the breathing air gets up and down. So if you control the air, it's easier to control the anger. It's the other way around. And this is what the yogis try to do it with pranayama. Raise to Brahma. Ratra. This is again coming to see that another example and the analogy if you take that what happens if I have a 10-pound note and is it in my left pocket or right pocket? Does it matter? No, because it's in me. It's in my body, right? It's there with me. Whenever I want, I can access it. What if it's there with my wife, with my partner? It's okay. It's not with me, but it's with my wife. I want it. I can take it. What's it with my children? Yeah, still my brother, my father, my relative. Well, it's going away, but it's still accessible. But you see, the further down it's going, if it's going away, we get the desire is better to be close, right? But imagine if we consider other pockets as our pockets as well. Then we go, then it will be exactly same as left pocket, right pocket, our pocket, father's pocket, children's pocket, our pocket, neighbor's pocket. Of course, what we are not saying is that go hungry, even though there's a concept that you should never be. And I think there was a part of the Vedic culture where you always go out. I think Gurukuls, they do it. That before you eat, you go out and see if anyone is there. And in my own family, I have seen my mom will always make the very first chapati will be always for a cow. And we will see if a cow is there, which used to be a lot of time, I don't know now. But then in Delhi, a lot of cows were around. But if not, we will keep it, and whenever the cow will come, we will give it. Or sometimes when we are going to the temple, we sometimes pass on. Every festival, if somebody's birthday is there, any auspicious days or special days, we will always cook and make one plate and go and give it. So I was the youngest one, so I would go and give that to the temple, offer everything as a prasad to the temple. And if temple is off, go to the priest. If the priest is still nearby, go and give to the Panditji's house. That's the offer. So you don't go and you don't go you share what you have. You sharing is caring. You see Brahman everywhere. You see the Lord everywhere. You take care of your children, you take care of others' children. Of course, there will always be a difference, but you don't differentiate that. When you have to help, you help. Transfer to another planet. This is we have seen 14 planetary system. So planet Earth is in the middle, but we have the higher planetary system, and that's what yogis do, if you remember. Tapa Loka is there, Mahar Loka is there, and on the top, Brahma Loka is there. So they move on. They move on there, and what do they do there? They do a lot of spirituality. And from there, either they come back to the earth, or very rare case, they can go straight to the liberation from there. So that's where the transfer to another planet. Not another planet in the sense we know, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, but the 14 planetary system. That's what it means. When will this stop? Well, once we develop this spiritual body, we will never fall down. Krishna says, once somebody reaches to my dharma, Nagata, never falls down, enters to the spiritual atmosphere. So this is where Brahm Jyoti comes in. That you are going to the Brahm Jyoti, you can come down. You don't have to come down. You don't fall down, but you can come down. There's a difference. So when we say Srila Prabhupada came down because he needed to. He needed to in a sense that he wanted to help us come down. Great example, a child has fallen down in dirty water and cannot come out by himself. The father or probably any adult going nearby will get into the dirty water to pick the child up, right, to help the child. And that's what our gurus, they come, the spiritual beings, they come and they do it. And so this says when living entity develops a spiritual body, when living entity enters into spiritual. So this is where you get into Brahm Jyoti or you get the spiritual body straight away. Whichever is better, but of course, being the devotee of the Lord Krishna, we would like to go to the Goloka Dhama, which, as per the Brahma Sutra, is the best place to be. And there are many other scriptures we continue. Let's move on from here. But any remarks on that? Anyone would like to say anything on it? Anyone got any comments? Any questions? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then let's move on and we will see the next bit. So, okay. This is from Bhagavatam. And very quickly, this is a bit of information. You can develop the wisdom out of it. But there's a mention in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, verse 32. There's a concept of beings born from elements. And so it's there in Bhagavad Gita as well. Swa, Sway, Bach. What does this mean? Literally means born of sweat or moisture. It refers to creatures believed to arise from fermentation, decay, or moisture like worms, insects, or cold. So, as you can see here, Manusmriti described 4 types of living beings. And Jarayuja, that's us from wombs. Under, Anda, egg. So those who come from eggs, and then Swadaja. And that's the definition of Swadaja is mentioned because this is hard to find out. Whenever we discuss this, most of the people ask me which are the examples. So I thought I would put the examples here. And then Udva. And now Udvija is from, again, Upaja is from soil, sprout, like plants. All the plants are there, everyone from the eggs are there, everyone from the wombs are there, and everybody else, most of the time, we can see sweat or moisture. So these are the 4 types of living beings described in Manusmriti and many other places as well. In Bhagavad Gita also, Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports describes it. This is just a bit of information because it mentioned about the death and the birth in this mantra. So I will read that. There's another presentation I put together, and a bit of I think I created it. This is again the Sanskrit terms, and then the meaning of those, which we have just seen, the descriptions, which which we have just discussed it, self-explanatory, except from the third one I just said. Examples are there. We can see all of them. And then when we say sometimes some of the examples people say are from ancient history, and it's hard for us to figure out what's there in the modern. So some of the modern, for example, maggots. I don't know, people, especially the kids, where they understand maggots. Lices I've seen in UK, they send the message, oh, lices are out. But microorganisms or insects. And again, the rest of them are there. So just a bit of information there. Right, okay. So this is from a book I was reading, and I thought it might be great to include here in Mantra 17. All right, question. So very quickly, I said quickly, but this is actually, let's see what we can do with this. What we have here is, so I hope everyone is here with us. This is how the wheel of suffering starts turning. Now, Buddhism talks about it. Adi Shankaracharya ji talked about it. And in our case, also, go back. In our case, also, we can see that it's easier to understand because we are talking about the death. And the reason the whole spirituality, one of the big claim is that enlightenment, what it is, Satya Chit Ananda, bliss. So we will overcome suffering, and it's possible to overcome suffering. And it's bliss what we are looking for. Right? And that's what this is. And if you haven't read it, very briefly, I will quickly go and I will mention where we are. If ignorance arises, so this is part of the Advaita. And for us as well, if you see, the very first thing in the Mangalacharan, we say Om Ajnana Tirmandasya. Ajnana. Ajnana is what? Jnana is knowledge, Ajnana is ignorance. So what does Guru would do? Guru, the spiritual teacher, will take the ignorance away. Will give you the knowledge, will give you the wisdom. Will take the Guru Sadhu Shastra, take your ignorance. We are not ignorant anymore. Right? For example, we have seen this example, and this example is very much prevalent in Upanishad and Upanishad mainly, that we are in a room and it's dark and there is a rope which appears like to be snake. We will suffer as long as we will be there in that dark room, even if that rope will not move. Imagine if the wind will come and the rope will move a bit. Oops. But even if the rope will not move, we will be afraid so much. Why? Because we think it's a snake. The snake might be sleeping. At some point, snake might wake up. The snake might come and bite. This is what the suffering is. And what is the reason? What is the reason of suffering? What is the source of suffering? It's not snake. It's not even rope. It's just the ignorance that snake appears like snake. Snake, rope appears like snake. What do we need to do? Switch on the light. Right? We will just see what happened. What happened to the snake? Did the snake go away? No. Did the rope do anything? No. Only give it the right knowledge. And this is what we say, what happens at the time of enlightenment? What Gautam Buddha said, I am awake. Like I'm not sleeping anymore. Somebody who is sleeping is ignorant what's happening around. But somebody who is awake can see things as they are. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So all of us, we are ignorant. Hence, we try hard towards material things. That we will grab and we can get material things and we will become happy. Of course, material things are useful. But do we need so much stress and tension? Maybe not. So, what happens? The source is ignorance, nothing else, no one else, nothing else, no one else. It's only our own ignorance. Hence, it's self-enlightenment, not somebody else's. Let's see, there are two people, and my eyes were closed. In the dark room, there were two people. My eyes were closed. Somebody else's eyes were open. Let's say the light from the off. Somebody opened the light in the room just for 2 seconds. The other person, his light or her light, eyes were open, could see, it's a snake. And that's it. Light went off again. Now this person will keep telling the other person, open your eyes. And by the time he opened his eyes, again it's dark. They said, don't worry. It's a snake. It's not a snake. It's just a rope. I've just seen it. Or maybe for this person, a little bit reassurance will be there. But whether that person will have 100% confidence, maybe not. Maybe not. We have seen this in driving. If there are two drivers, and both are there in the car, one of them is driving, one of them is the passenger side. The passenger side is always a bit wary. As soon as the same route, same car, if you switch the passengers, the other person will be more confident, even though that person is driving himself or herself. Somebody gave me this example. But he said one of my relatives is like one of other friends I have. These two people, whenever they are there with you, whoever car it is, they would love to drive. Why? Not that because they love driving, because they have more confidence in their own driving compared to others. It makes them anxious that somebody else is driving. Why? Self-confidence, self-awareness, self-enlightenment, self-realization. Somebody else can encourage us, give us the reassurance, but we have to do our own work. We have to do our own work. If ignorance arises, reaction occurs. Isn't it true? Because we are ignorant, we will do something. Right? We are afraid because we think it's a snake. If reaction arises, consciousness occurs. Now this bit, there's a bit of argument and some other philosophies will not go along with it. But for this argument, let's just follow that with reaction, consciousness occurs, even though other side we will say consciousness is always there. It's not that consciousness is dependent on that, but that's the way they have to do it. But consciousness is where mind and matter occurs, which means because we react, how we will react. The ignorance is in the mind. Right? Ignorance is in the mind. Not in consciousness. Ignorance is in the mind. Then when we will react with matter, which means we will react with this body. Right? So there is subtle body and there is gross body. Mind is in subtle body, matter, which is this gross body. So when we have to react, we will react with the body, with the hands. We might say something, we might run away. So that's mind and matter happens then. And mind and matter arises the six senses, of course, because we feel everything from six senses. Six senses arises, the contact occurs. We have seen something, we have heard something. So this is what we call the six senses are the jnana indris, and contact is working, which is there's a sense and there's a sense object. If the eyes are there, we see something. But imagine there is nothing to see. If you have ever been on a cruise, you're there on the ship, and then you look in the water. You see the sky, you see the water. You don't see anything else. Now, you might stay there for 7 days. You might not see, until suppose you look around and see the ship, and then the ship, you have everything. But if you just look outside, then you will see water, you will see the sky, nothing else. Why? Because there are only two objects. So the eyes will see, but it also depends on the object. Now imagine again we are in a dark room, the eyes are open. And maybe in the dark room there are many other things we can't see. The objects are there, the eyes are there, but the light is not there, which makes our senses work, our senses. Now here, hearing is okay, because hearing is not dependent on it. Smelling is okay, smelling is not dependent on the light. So that's how senses are dependent on something else. Some, yes, some they don't. But contact is required. Contact is required with something. Most of the time we can call it sense object. If we smell something, then that smell is coming from outside, the contact with that smell. And then it says, because of that contact, the sensation occurs. What is a sensation? Sensation is that we felt something, right? Anything. Now, we felt something, whether that's good or bad, we don't know, but we felt something. Once we have felt something, later we will find out if we like it, we crave for it. I want more. If you had one samosa and you love samosa, you want to have more. Or if it's something else, maybe mirchi, it's red paprika. You say, too spicy, I don't want it. No, I don't. Aversion. Crave, aversion. You like something, you don't like something. If you like something or you don't like something, then the attachment occurs. Attachment, I like it. Attachment, I don't like it. The two types of attachments. If attachment arises, the process of becoming occurs, which means now we are in the life. The whole life since morning till end, we like things, we don't like it. Or whatever we like, we pursue that happiness. If we don't like it, we try to avoid all those things which will give us unpleasant sensations. Right? And it says, once that becoming occurs, then the birth will occur. Then the birth will occur. Then we are in the material world. What the enlightened one does, they don't have this becoming because they are not attached to things. Because they don't crave for anything, they don't hate anything. There is no sensation. Well, let's say the sensations are there. What? Sensations are there, but right after the sensations, they don't judge the sensations. They don't discriminate the sensations, that this is good or this is bad. It is. It is what it is. You don't have to get attached. No happy sensations, no unhappy sensations. It's just a sensations. And the process to come out of it, it says, sensation is momentary. How? How it says, for example, the anger management. What does it say? The sensation happens. You are angry. What do people say? Drink a glass of water. What will happen? That anger, that sensation has just come up. While you're drinking the water, a few seconds gone up, calm and composed, and it's gone. And it's gone. So before we judge good sensation, bad sensation, before the craving or the aversion happen, this is where the yoga comes in. You just control your breath. Just watch. Just witness. Take the name of the Lord. Do the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The sensation, they are momentary. They will go away. And that's it. There is no aversion. It's gone. No attachment. No. It's not that easy to do. But that's a reassurance that there is a wheel of suffering which we can stop. So birth occurs. If the birth occurs, of course, then decay, death, together with the sorrow, lamentation, physical and mental suffering, relations. Thus arises this entire mass of suffering. So, if you don't want suffering, what we should do? We should the only now, if you think about it, this either we work on the ignorance, which we should. We should become wise, as we have seen. What kind of knowledge is right? We should work on that. Or sensations. The sensations will happen. We are cold. Now, I asked the question I might have shared in the past that there are different kind of sensations. Right? They say don't attach with sensations, but there are different kind of sensations. So does it mean that if you are outside in the cold or you are outside in the sun and the sun is hot, so should you just stand there? No, it's your body. Take good care of your body. Put the sunscreen. Get into the shadow, shade. Or if it's cold, come inside. Come in the heating. Put the woolen clothes. That's not attachment or detachment. That is taking care of that. But yes, if you will say, so, well, in the sensations, the different types of sensations, if you need to mark a line, you mark a line on sand. Well, let's start with water. Water is the easier one. You're putting your finger through, the previous line is going away. That's one kind of sensation. It comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. Sensation coming and going. The second one, on sand. This will go when the next wave will come or the air will come. It will go. Third sensation is on stone. That will also grow. But that might take years to grow. So these are three different types of sensations we could have. So not saying that it is easy to say. If you go in the shopping mall, somebody just say something to you, you just, I don't know who the person was, must be having a bad day. Oh, bless him. Let's go. Yeah. Nothing. On water, you might not even mention it to someone. If your neighbor will say, well, you need to see your neighbor every day. So the first one would have been on water. Second one would be on sand. Maybe next day the neighbor will say sorry. That's all. What if your son, your daughter, one of your close relatives will say something? And will say right at the front of the whole society. What's that? That might also go away. For people say, I will never forget in my whole life. That's on the stone. That's on stone. But enlightened beings, they don't get. They don't. Another example, when Ganga was there, and Ganga had brothers, sons, and then, of course, Shantanu married second wife, and the second wife considered Vyas Muni as the son, Savitri was it? And then when everything Mahabharata was happening, then she said she called Vyas Muni, and she just had to think about Vyas Muni. Vyas Muni came, and Vyas Muni said that, mother, what can I do? And she was very unhappy. And she said, do you know what's happening? Going to happen? And he said, yeah, I know what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to die. And she said, but the way you're saying it, you're not sad. And he said, mother, I'm a sage. I'm out of all that. I know the truth. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. In Bhagavatam, there are many other examples of Vyasa. The long story short, that it's possible. And this is what sage do. Now, not saying that you become morons, maybe either you be sad for everyone or you be happy for everyone. You don't become sad even if somebody in the family will go away, which will happen. Sensations will happen. The craving and aversion you can control. That comes with practice. Uh, Craving and aversion is the middle part, in the middle. Right on the top, it's the ignorance. So when we come in these sessions, we try to be a bit more wise, realize the truth, but the death will happen. Let's so any question on this before we go? There's one example I have on how to approach it and how somebody else is kind of approached it. Any thoughts from anyone? किसी को कोई विचारधारा क्या सोचते हैं सेंस बनी जो हमने आज बात करी इज इट डज इट मेक एनी सेंस एट ऑल right okay think about it think what does it say and in whichever way you will approach spirituality whichever Vedic school of thought you will follow it won't be very far from what it is here. As I said, the consciousness is there. In the second step, some people will put that right in the front, or might just take out of the equation. So remember what we said about the consciousness, that in there's a mantra which says, so you see everything from your eyes, you smell everything from your nose, you hear everything from your ears. So if you see everything from your eyes, if you will see your own eyes, what's that which sees your eye? Let me repeat that. If you see everything with your eyes, what's that which sees your eye? आप सब कुछ अपनी आंखों से देखते हैं वो क्या है जो आपकी आंखों को देखता है In Upanishads, there is a mention that that's what consciousness is. Again, hard to contemplate. Think of the example. Number of times it happens. We are looking at something, but our mind is somewhere else. Even though our eyes looking at the object of eyes, senses, or object of senses, sense object. So the sense is looking at the sense object, eye is looking at something, but still we are not looking at that. We don't approach that. Number of times I've realized, especially in a crowded place, and I've been both sides. I'm driving, somebody's there right in front of me, and the person is coming. The person is looking at me, and not in the car, maybe walking on the side. But you have to do either you just go on the right or you just do a little honk and the person will realize, oh yeah. Oh, I'm walking and I realize, oops, somebody is coming. And then until I heard it, I said, wow, was right in front of me, but my mind was somewhere else. And that's what the part of consciousness is. Of course, on a lower level, we can say aware. Somebody is subconscious. Somebody is unconscious. Right? So think about it. We reach to the end of it. And the Madhacharya's example, which I wanted to use, maybe we'll use it next time. But this is what we have covered today. So think on this, and we will move on to the second part, which is accepting spiritual. Today we discussed giving up material body. We will move on to accepting spiritual body and move on from there. So think about what we have discussed today. I would love to hear your thoughts next week. So, right, I will confirm, but I might not able to do a session on next week. But I will confirm on that too. I think I'm in one of the events. but we'll discuss. We'll mention this. So thank you so much for your presence. I look forward to have you in next session. Until then, take good care of yourself. Keep yourself in the association of Guru Sadhana. Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai Jai. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Bo. Thank you.
Hare